Hey, in today's video we're going to learn how to remove a linoleum floor in a kitchen and also how we're gonna reinstall it. Hey, this is Marco from Bama Handyman Solutions. Let's jump right into it. So today I'm gonna walk you through the process how to replace a linoleum floor in the kitchen. It is quite similar to the bathroom, so we need a couple of tools which I'm gonna mention while we're gonna actually do the work, because it varies, depends on what you actually find. And the first thing we need to do is, or at least I'm gonna do that, is I take a sample of the linoleum as well as from the glue and get it tested for asbestos. And I already did that for this kitchen, so everything is good. They haven't found anything, and so let's get started. So first, of course, we're gonna remove all the appliances, and then I'm gonna start with the baseboards, or here in this case I'm gonna remove the quarter rounds and the transition pieces, and then we're gonna start in a corner to start ripping it out. Okay, we go quickly through how it looks like right now from this angle. So basically behind the refrigerator it started, then it comes along near over here, and we have one door over here with the transition, some quarter rounds, another transition, then we got all the quarter rounds around here and another transition. So there shouldn't be too complicated, and as I said, we're gonna start first with the quarter rounds, gonna pray them off. There are a couple of tools we can use, and one of them is I want to show you quickly. So we got the Prybar, traditional one, and then I got this one here. It's actually a very good tool, but more for baseboard, so you do not damage the drywall. But I think these quarter rounds are usually only brad nailed, so they should come off pretty easy. All right. Okay, so we got the perimeter cleared. We removed all the transitions and all the quarter round. As you could see, we just used a carpet knife to score in the seal, and then we use, as I said, a screwdriver pry bar or that special pry bar to loosen and remove them. So I mark them that I know when I put it back, it's a little bit quicker to put them back into its original place. Some of them we're gonna replace because they're broken and dirty or rotten. So now what we do next is actually we're gonna start in the corner over there. Sorry. And then we work our way to the middle and see how good it goes. And I hope they didn't use too much glue, right? All right. Alright, so we got it taken off. It was quite a challenge, but you know, it came off. So next thing is we're gonna clean it very nicely, sweep it, and then we're gonna install the new one. In the meantime, I'm gonna go and pick it up from the hardware store. Alright, we are back at the crime scene. Well, just joking. Now we are back at the kitchen where we pulled on Friday the linoleum floor, and today we're gonna use adhesive stripper. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna soak that in for about 2 to 3 hours. So according to the instruction, it needs to stay all the time wet, so you have to make sure it doesn't dry out. So I apply quite a bit in one section first, and I do that behind the stove to gonna see if this is any good or not, and if this works or not. And then I think we go from there. So this 1 gallon bucket should cover the whole kitchen. So let's get started in the back there and see how it does. So the whole floor is basically still very sticky, so I'm afraid that the glue or the new glue would not bond to it. So that's why I'm gonna try to remove as much as I can before I do anything, because I don't want to really do the work twice. Now, unless this is the consistency the glue needs to be, but I doubt it. So I just pour a little bit here in the corner. Let's do about this much. Spread it out and then see if this does anything, or, you know, if it's a waste of time. Maybe we have to do it 2 or 3 times. Gotta see. And again, what the goal is here, just to put a new layer on top of it. So we did the first part of adhesive remover. So I did 2 coats and then scraped it, and it came off pretty okay. So let's have a look how it looks like. So right now you can see that everywhere where it is lighter, so the adhesive is basically removed. So we only have a little bit black or darker spots on this side. So I'm gonna go over this area tomorrow again. And there's also a little bit on this side, which is still a bit sticky, but right there in the middle or in front of the sink. So the adhesive is basically gone, and we have a little bit left around the edges. I'm gonna take care of those also tomorrow when I come back. So we let it sit and then come back about tomorrow. And one thing I would like to mention is that, you know, I turned down the heat or air conditioner so it is stable, so it does not evaporate rapidly. And also what I did, I already rolled out the new vinyl, so it basically can adjust to the flat surface, as well as it gets the temperature of the, let's say, room temperature. So tomorrow again we're gonna strip the rest of the adhesive, then we'll let it sit again and come back another day and install the vinyl sheet. So stay tuned. Okay, so we are back at the property, and what we're going to do first, we're going to measure the kitchen, because you're gonna cut the vinyl already to size or close to the size. So we want to make sure we have on both ends about 2 inches overage, so we can play with that, so to make sure it is square, because it has a stone pattern. We want to make sure it will be square. So we have that 2 to 3 inch or even 4 inch where we can move it around till it fits perfectly. And after I take the measurement, I will apply one more coat of the adhesive remover and scrape the rest out of it, because there's still some spots which is a little bit sticky, but it's definitely much better than it was before we started. So yeah, let's measure that out. So now we applied another coat of adhesive remover, and while that does the work, we're going to mark on that vinyl sheet, which I already spread out here on the floor, where we're gonna cut. So what I measured, we transform over onto that sheet, and we go frequently and check if it already has loosened up the adhesive. And before we then actually cut it, we double check our measurements to make sure, obviously, we don't cut it too short. So the goal is here to have more material actually than we will need in there, but it needs to be manageable. So this sheet here is about 12 by 12, and in there we need roughly between 11 and 10. So I have to trim off a little bit, otherwise I cannot really manage it in there. All right. Okay, so it's now time to cut the sheet into size. I already marked it where to cut, so I'm gonna cut that, roll it back up to a roll, and clean the underside of the sheet to make sure there is no dirt picked up. And then I'm gonna move it into the kitchen. So the kitchen is now prepared. We scraped all the glue off, and now it is nice and ready to lay down. Then I'm gonna get the glue and bring it to the kitchen, and then we start dry fitting it before we glue it. Okay, so we are now ready to bring the roll inside the kitchen. Then we roll it out, and then we do some minor cuts before I apply the glue, the adhesive, to the floor. And let's go inside and put it in place, and then I tell you a little bit more about the glue. Okay, so it was a little bit of a wrangle to get it in. I may cut it a little bit too big, so it was hard for me to put it in place. So once I started grinding down or cutting off on the side, it was much easier to put it in place. So anyway, I dry fitted it now. It's where it's supposed to go. and I rolled back almost a little bit less than half of it so that I can apply the adhesive. And we use a trowel which is 1/16 by 1/16 by 1/16, and that's exactly what that manufacturer asks you to use. And we're gonna spread it, and then we roll it the adhesive, and then because I don't have a roller, so we use our hands to get the bubbles out, and then we move on to the other side and do basically the same thing. We roll back, and then we put adhesive on it, and then we roll it over it. So that's at least the idea. So if it's non-porous, which is this one here, I would say, so it doesn't have any pores because it's another vinyl sheet. So it says always allow adhesive to completely dry and until it becomes tacky. So that's what we want to achieve. So we trowel it, and we're gonna wait a little bit, then we put it on. So, and we have it says we have a work time for about 25 minutes. So I think that should be hopefully enough to get one side done and then move to the other side. Okay, we are back at the property, and the glue had time, or the adhesive had time overnight. It's about 24 hours now to bond. So what we're going to do next is we're gonna install all the quarter rounds, and then we install the transitions. And let's jump into installing the quarter rounds. It's very simple. We put them back where they were. We use brad nails, then we fill the holes with wood filler, and after that we caulk the transition. And maybe sometimes we need to, or there are certain spots we may need to touch up a little bit to make sure it looks nice. But again, as I said, the job was to replace the vinyl floor, and everything else is just addition. Okay, let's do it. All right, so we took care of the caulking the perimeter. We filled all the holes with nail hole filler, and now what we need to do next is putting back the appliances, touch up a little bit and clean everything, and then this kitchen is done. Okay, so we are done here in the kitchen. We put all the appliances back. We go to clean in a minute the whole floor. And so let's recap quickly. The tips I can give you for doing such a undertaking is always get more material than you need it. You always can cut back. Then prepare your subfloor, make sure it is clean, remove all the residue, and figure out how you want to lay it out to make sure you can fit it in there. Then the third thing I would say is make sure you square it up to the room. And then number 4, I would say, so if you have corners like here, so they easily can tear in, so make sure you protect your corners to make sure you don't tear it in while you're wrangling it around. And then of course make sure you put enough adhesive on it according to the manual or the manufacturer, and let it dry about 24 hours before any foot traffic. So let's see how it looks, how the finished product look like. And if you find that video useful, so please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are interested in more content, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you. Bye bye.